Today on Investigate TV, an innocent hostage shot by police. Why officers can be legally protected when they open fire.
I said, I got to get out of here. I bailed out and had my hands up in the air, and I still got shot.
Plus, people arrested for crimes in places they'd never even been, with new technology to blame.
I swear to God, I ain't never been to Louisiana. I don't do nothing like that.
Who would get you involved?
I don't know, because I got my license. I don't even know nobody.
And a rising scam costing Americans millions of dollars, with victims left picking up the pieces.
Emotionally drained, physically drained, psychologically drained.
Investigate TV starts right now. Hello and welcome to Investigate TV. I'm Lee Zurich. A hostage shot 9 times by police, and federal courts confirmed that the officers who shot him don't owe him anything. That decision ends a Georgia man's 8-year battle to get compensation for his injuries. Brendan Keefe has an exclusive interview with the man who survived both a kidnapping and police bullets.
Thorpe County 911, armed with a pistol, and a rifle.
He's in my truck and he's coming out to meet us now. He said I won't survive if I don't get to the hospital.
He fired a shot, rolled my side mirror out. I thought that was my head, but I got lucky.
That was a warning shot.
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't keep driving,
He was on shoot me in the head.
Don Davis was behind the wheel with a killer holding him at gunpoint.
The dude that he's in the truck with just called. So if he didn't do what he said, that he would kill him.
So he has the truck driver hostage?
Yes.
Ryan Arnold had already shot his pregnant girlfriend and at pursuing officers. He was going to escape a police barricade in Davis's logging truck or die trying.
How are you going to make them kill you?
If you shoot at them and they shoot at you, obviously one of you got to die, so.
you had 2 really bad choices. Get shot by the man who had taken you hostage.
That's right.
Or get shot by the police.
That's right.
The hostage and his kidnapper rolled through the police roadblock, hitting police cars in their way.
He's in an 18-wheel log truck. He's running over patrol cars. He's coming out, headed to the pavement. He's running over everything in his sight.
Troopers with the Georgia State Patrol and deputies with Oglethorpe County opened fire. More than 35 bullets riddled the cab.
And Mr. Davis, all I remember is hearing him scream and jumping out of the vehicle. He jumped out of the truck.
I said, I got to get out of here. I bailed out and had my hands up in the air, and I still got shot.
The hostage was shot in his shoulder, hip, and leg. Davis's hand was nearly blown off.
You were shot how many times?
9 times.
You took 9 rounds.
That's right.
And survived.
That's right.
On that day, part of the man that I married died.
The suspect survived too and later pleaded guilty to murder and kidnapping.
I was placed into the ambulance on the scene. Mr. Davis was life-flighted.
Was the hostage shot by accident? Davis argued he was targeted by police because he was driving. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation agreed the driver was the target, even though some officers assumed the fleeing felon was behind the wheel.
You determined, as part of your investigation, that each of the officers that fired was intending to shoot the driver of the truck.
Correct.
The subject y'all are looking for is in the vehicle with him, advising if he does not go where he tells him to, he will kill him.
Dispatch records show police were told the driver was a hostage, but some officers say they never heard that transmission.
And there's lots of cases out there that talk about hostages getting caught in the crossfire.
Attorney Render Freeman sued the troopers and the deputies on behalf of the Davis family.
We're not aware of any case in the country that says that an officer may strategically choose on purpose to shoot the innocent hostage as a way of apprehending the criminal.
The courts ruled it didn't matter whether the police officers shot the hostage on purpose or not. The 11th Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals here in Atlanta tossed Davis's lawsuit last year, ruling the logging truck had to be stopped. And tragically, that meant stopping Davis, too. One judge on the appeals panel disagreed with the others on that final shot after the hostage had jumped from the stopped truck, calling that an unreasonable use of deadly force. But that same judge agreed with the others that the officer can't be held liable because he's entitled to qualified immunity.
Sounds like it's perfectly okay to shoot an innocent hostage like that. That desperately needs to change.
Don Davis now lives with the scars, each one made by a police bullet. Missing body cameras and a damaged dash cam file mean there isn't a single frame of video of the 2015 shooting itself. But the voices of troopers were captured by the dash cam of a state patrol cruiser responding to the scene.
We shot a hostage?
Yeah.
Did we shoot him?
Yeah, we have.
Good.
We shot them both.
Hey, all's well that ends well.
Amen.
As long as none of us gets hurt, we're making memories.
That's right.
The officers were completely cleared of any wrongdoing in the case, but Oglethorpe County, Georgia, and 2 deputies did pay out a settlement before the rest of the case was thrown out. Officers testified not everyone heard the radio transmission, that the hostage was driving, and one deputy said he would not have fired had he known. If you want to take a deeper dive into our investigations, read more of our team's work at InvestigateTV.com. Coming up, new technology for police to track down suspects causes big issues for innocent people, especially those of color.
We can use this technology, right? I can see it being a force amplifier. We have to do something to keep people safe. But we can't do it at the expense of inequity and discriminatory policing.
That story after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Technology marketed as a solution to solving crime is sometimes zeroing in on the wrong people. More law enforcement agencies across the country are using the facial recognition software. But Ciara Cummings shows us why in some cases the search for suspects leaves a trail of new victims.
Georgia, New Jersey, Michigan.
We're the police. Don't tell us to settle down.
Cases divided by hundreds of miles, threaded by a simple connection. A search for robbery suspects created a trail of victims. November 25th, 2022, DeKalb County Police stop a car along I-20. The driver was Randall Reed. The 29-year-old was wanted.
You got 2 theft warrants. They're both in Louisiana. So I'm gonna have a subject in custody. It's gonna be him.
It would not be him.
I swear to God, I ain't never been to Louisiana. I don't do nothing, no like that.
Who would use your name? Like, who would get you involved?
I don't know, because I got my license. I don't even know nobody in Louisiana.
Randall had never been to the state, yet officers in 2 jurisdictions there accused him of stealing purses in Jefferson Parish in Baton Rouge. His attorneys say Louisiana law enforcement linked him to the crime he did not commit by using facial recognition technology. FRT is software that analyzes facial features, comparing one image to another to confirm a match or offer a limited set of results with similarities. At the time of Randall's arrest, neither he nor DeKalb PD knew Louisiana officers used the technology to ultimately issue warrants.
How often does what happen? When it's not the right person? I never know if it's the right person.
Put your phone in your pocket.
It was not the right person in this arrest either.
So I don't get to go in my house.
No.
And I got a warrant for retail fraud. Go home, settle down, bro.
I got a warrant for retail fraud.
In January 2020, using facial recognition technology, Detroit police linked Robert Williams to this surveillance video. The video shows a man stealing watches from a Michigan jewelry store. Robert, his family, and attorneys allege in a lawsuit detectives failed to thoroughly investigate beyond using the software.
Arrested me for absolutely no reason other than whatever you seen on a picture it's not real.
You could be doing every single thing right and still be arrested as if you've done something wrong.
Right.
They made a mistake, baby. It's okay. Be back in a minute.
The father did not come back for days. And in New Jersey, it was about 10 days before Niger Parks came home.
They don't do police work now with the facial recognition. Like, you just can't take the facial recognition and say, oh, the computer said it was him, so it's him.
February 2019, this scene unfolds outside a Woodbridge, New Jersey hotel. A suspect parked in a Dodge Challenger is accused of stealing from the gift shop. As officers are questioning the driver, he cranks up his car.
He took off!
The driver nearly hits police. Court documents reveal law enforcement later used facial recognition technology to run the actual suspect's fake license through the system. It falsely linked Niger to the crime he did not commit.
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, shoplifting, eluding. My jaw just dropped. It was just like, huh? Like, where did you get all this from?
All three jailed, all falsely matched, all black men. A national study finds FRT use contributes to greater racial disparities in arrests. The author, Dr. Thaddeus Johnson, is a professor at Georgia State University, and not only does he teach students about this, he trains police, and he's a former officer.
Had this technology been available to you 10 years ago or even today if you were still an officer, would you use it?
I mean, I probably would.
But not as a final decision in a case. Dr. Johnson's study examines FRT deployment in more than 1,100 cities and subsequent arrests in 2016. The results show agencies which use FRT had a 55% higher arrest rate for black people and a 22% lower arrest rate for white people compared to agencies that did not use facial recognition.
Bias can be embedded on the very front end.
According to the report, contributing factors in racial disparities include black people are overrepresented in image databases like mugshots, so they carry a greater risk of being misidentified. Plus, the lack of racially diverse programmers to train and build these algorithms. Also, the absence of federal guidelines to interpret these results. And finally, the psychological effect of workers relying on shortcuts for time-sensitive, high-stakes decisions.
More recent data by the National Institute of Standards and Technology reveals FRT has a wide range in accuracy across developers. For example, systems created in China have more accuracy in identifying Asian faces. Additionally, when it came to U.S. databases, the highest false positives were in people of color, Indian, African American, and Asian.
We can use this technology, but we can't do it at the expense of inequity and discriminatory policing, whether we mean to or not.
Our team contacted the company whose software was used in Reed's arrest. A spokesperson said their company encourages law enforcement to develop policies and treat results like a lead or tip, not as a deciding factor in a case. Want to hear more stories like this? Check out the Investigate TV YouTube page for our latest content and partnerships. Up next, a man's world turned upside down. An online scam that wiped out his savings and left him hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
I see everything I was going through, and just want to make it out there public so people will be aware and not to get involved in this, because this will totally upset their life. It will totally turn everything upside down.
That story after the break. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Cryptocurrency fraud. The FBI says it's one of the fastest growing scams, one that tricked Americans out of more than $1 billion last year. Cantor Kent in Portland, Oregon shares the story of a man whose world came crashing down after falling victim to a textbook social media scheme.
Trying to figure out how I'm going to get out of it, how I'm going to get my bill paid off.
In the matter of just a month, this Portland man says his entire world was turned upside down as an online scam left him hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and nearly penniless.
He was a mutual friend, or I thought he was a mutual friend of a friend on Facebook, and so then we just started chatting.
Dennis Corey says it was this past fall when a stranger reached out to him on Facebook to flirt and strike up a friendship. What unfolded next is what the FBI describes as a tried and true textbook case of a social media scam.
With the socially engineered crypto investment fraud schemes, somebody will get in touch with somebody via social media. They'll eventually move them into perhaps a private messaging chat.
We started chatting and talking, just idle conversation, getting comfortable with one another. And then he goes, well, let's go to WhatsApp app, and chat there.
A romance chat that transformed into an investment partnership. Corey says the man he was chatting with enticed him with an opportunity to make some quick money through crypto trading, and even loaned him some money to get started.
And we started doing a couple little trades like that. I put in like 1,000, then put in another 1,000. He's like, well, if we get, to the next level, if you come up with $50,000, then we can put in, then you can make some higher trades, make more money.
Once they're in, what they're doing is creating them to invest more and invest more. They may even link it to a false app or a false website, so people can actually go check and think, hey, my portfolio is growing fantastically.
And they come up and said, oh, you increased your amount by this much money. And so then the balance started just accumulating and accruing.
Then getting the money back out became impossible.
Then they started coming up and saying, oh, you have to pay a tax fee.
Desperate to collect what Corey thought was hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit, Corey says he took out a loan to pay the supposed tax fee, only to be told afterward that he had to pay a certification fee and then later a transfer fee. Before it was all said and done, Corey says he took out loans, advances on credit cards, and wiped out his savings.
In the meantime, trying to do this, they were like, sending me threatening messages saying, if you don't pay me back, I'm going to sue you. My lawyers will find you. You don't think I can't find you, and all these documentations.
And what they don't realize is at a certain moment, these people are going to wipe that out and the money's gone.
Corey says that's exactly what happened when he had no more money to pay the fees and started to suspect he'd been targeted by a scammer.
Emotionally drained, physically drained, psychologically drained.
Corey says he reported his losses to the Portland Police Bureau, the FBI, and the Department of Justice. Portland police confirmed they took the report, telling us, quote, this case is showing victims in multiple states and that the suspect location is unknown. Portland police then referred the case to the FBI. The FBI telling Fox 12 it can neither confirm nor deny whether agents are investigating Corey's case. But Portland's top agent says these type of scams are rapidly picking up speed, as the FBI reports that losses to crypto fraud have doubled in the last year nationwide, leaving victims devastated.
It's heartbreaking to hear. One of the big problems with cryptocurrency is that you see these false promises of easy money being combined with people's limited knowledge or limited experience with cryptocurrency, and it sets it up for really the perfect storm for a scam.
And so he's telling me that he embezzled his own company's money to pay me.
Corey says he's doubtful he will ever see his money again. In his 60s, he fears for his finances and the future.
I see everything I was going through, and just want to make it out there public so people will be aware and not to get involved in this, because this will totally upset their life and totally turn everything upside down.
He hopes by sharing his experience that you won't be the next victim.
I mean, to prevent somebody else from getting involved in this and ruin their life like this, then it's probably worth it. But it's not worth the amount of money that I lost to me.
Corey is in the process of draining his 401k to pay off his debt. We have tips to avoid becoming a victim. If the deal or opportunity seems too good to be true, it probably is. Online romance and investment are never a good mix. That's a huge red flag. Be on the lookout for high-pressure sales tactics or time-sensitive opportunities. Those are designed to convince you to make irrational decisions. And finally, always check out the legitimacy of apps and websites by doing some research. To keep up with our latest investigations, follow us on social media. We're at InvestigateTV on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Coming up, advances in technology have made AI scams more believable, with fraudsters able to sound almost identical to friends and family members. We share the red flags you need to look out for. Welcome back to Investigate TV. Phone and video scams are not new, but thanks to artificial intelligence, these scams are more sophisticated and believable. Carice Jackman hears from an expert on common tactics scammers use and what you can do to prevent yourself from falling for an AI scam.
What you're looking at are fraudsters checking out their computer, practicing their voice and mannerisms in order to trick unsuspecting victims online.
They're constantly getting better in what they do. They're constantly trying to find different ways, different vulnerabilities that the fraud fighters haven't really thought of, that the victims haven't really thought of, in order to take advantage out of people.
Dr. David Myman runs the evidence-based cybersecurity group at Georgia State University in Atlanta. They collect and analyze videos like these from cyber criminals who share their methods on social media and the dark web.
We see many actors, both local actors but also global actors, infiltrating dating apps, looking for profiles on Facebook, on Tinder, on other platforms they have access to, taking the images from those profiles, establishing fictitious profiles.
In many cases, Myman says the fraudsters use dating apps to prey on people, hoping to take advantage of them. To make matters worse, they also educate other cyber criminals on the tricks of the trade.
The criminals offer to walk you through, a tutorial in order to make sure that you know exactly how to use the tool. They actually offer practice lessons as well with respect to how to move your lips and eyes in order for it to sync with your voice when you sort of communicate with the victim. So this is how sophisticated the operation is at this point.
So these bad actors are teaching other bad actors how to do their job.
Oh yeah, definitely. And they sell the software which they use in order to do that.
The AARP has also noticed an uptick in concerns over AI scams and issued an alert telling consumers to beware of AI voice cloning.
10 seconds, maybe even, of your voice and using AI, create an entire conversation and getting your grandparent to believe that I'm you and I need your help right away.
Kathy Stokes, Director of Fraud Prevention Programs with the AARP, says it's hard to tell now whether someone you see or hear is fake, but says the biggest red flag is if you're suddenly in a heightened emotional state.
When you get a contact out of the blue about some big financial issue, whether it's I've got to solve this with money or I'm getting money and I'm so excited, that's the red flag. Something that instills fear, panic, excitement right up front, that's the red flag.
As for those who think they're being fooled on dating apps but aren't sure, Myman says consider bringing a friend or family member to meet this curious lover.
When you tell the scammer that you want to introduce them to someone from your environment, they will object because they know that someone else will probably be able to figure out that this is a scam.
Simple steps you can take to avoid the dark side of artificial intelligence.
If you're looking for more investigative reporting on demand, download our streaming apps on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. And that's it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Investigate TV. Hope to see you next week.